Alright, so in this video we're going to work through the first part of our Newton's second law of motion packet. So for this part we're going to need a calculator, we're going to need a couple of highlighters, I've got a good many right here, and we're going to need a pen or pencil to write with. So make sure that before you get started you've got all those materials handy and ready to go. So what I would like to do first, because this looks very similar to Newton's first law of motion packet, is maybe just take a second and let's just add a little color up here and make this part stand out. Remember, as I'm doing this video, if at any point you need to pause the video to get caught up or to work a problem out on your own, and then check it yourself with the video, that you can certainly do all of that. Okay? So just adding a little bit of color up here to make it look different than Newton's first law packet, and knowing that after this we have Newton's third law coming. Alright, so this is Newton's second law of motion, and the second law of motion can actually be written as a math formula. Force equals mass times acceleration, and we've actually alluded to this already a couple of times in our talks this unit. But this law says that the magnitude, and magnitude is like the bigness, it's usually a number associated with it, and that's what we're going to be calculating. The magnitude of force, and force is going to be measured in newtons, is equal to mass, mass is going to be measured in kilograms, multiplied, so we're putting our little mathematical symbols here, by acceleration. And acceleration is from last unit, and remember acceleration is going to be meters per second squared. Okay, so the magnitude of force is going to be equal to mass multiplied by acceleration. And can you see that that formula basically is a mathematical way of saying exactly what we have right here? I just want to highlight kind of those key words. The magnitude of force measured in newtons is equal to the mass multiplied by acceleration. So this kind of breaks down bits and pieces of that. Acceleration is produced when a force acts on a mass. So acceleration is produced when a force acts on a mass. Things speed up when we apply force on an object that has a mass. Then force, I'm going to switch colors. Force, the net force acting on an object is measured in newtons. And our little formula is F equals M times A. Now I have a silly memory trick for this, and I shared it with my classes yesterday. Forces make me think of figs, like the little fruit, and that makes me think of the little cookies, fig Newtons, that I always associate with my grandparents because they would have them at their house. So forces make me think of figs, which make me think of fig Newtons. So that's my memory trick for newtons. Now a newton is really a kilogram times a meter per second squared, because it's really the mass unit times the acceleration unit. Now mass, the mass of the object is measured in kilograms. And in the past we've used grams because we were working with small objects on the triple beam balance. But we're going to be talking about bigger things now, so that's going to be kilograms. And when we plug all this in a triangle, mass is going to be force divided by acceleration. And then our last piece of the puzzle here is acceleration. I'm Remember last unit we learned that acceleration is to speed up, slow down, or what was the third one? Change direction. And acceleration of an object is measured in meters per second squared, a meter per second per second. So when we get ready to calculate acceleration, is going to be force divided by mass. Okay? So when we put all of that in our triangle, I'm going to draw that up here at the top of the page. And we'll be drawing this triangle a lot today. By the end of class, I hope that you'll have it memorized. Force is going to go at the top. That's force measured in newtons. Mass is going to go on the bottom. That's mass measured in kilograms. And acceleration is also going to go on the bottom. And that's meters per second squared. Okay? And that is our F equals MA triangle. Remembering how this works, side by side we multiply, one over the other we divide. And we've got some good practice problems later on in this lesson where we will practice all of that. Looking up here, this is a really fancy, more in-depth physics problem that I'm not going to get into too much right now. It says that the sum of the forces equals the change in, that's delta. Momentum is mass times velocity, which is what we've got right here. And then this is delta t, which is change in time. So this is something we're not going to really worry about. If you want to know more about it, you can check with me later. So don't worry about that. All right, so here's our first little example question. And it says, what is the force needed to accelerate a 30 kilogram shopping cart 3 meters per second squared? Okay, so we're looking for force. What is the force is what they're asking me. So to solve this, we're going to draw our triangle. What is the force? That's what I'm looking for. My mass is 3 kilograms, and my acceleration is 3 meters per second squared. I'm looking for force. Side by side, we multiply. So force equals 3 kilograms times 3 meters per second squared. She's not in here.
Have Laura Brinson.
She's in the gym.
Thank you.
So for our force, 3 times 3. I'm sorry, this is 30 kilograms, my bad. 30. So 30 times 3 is 90. And a kilogram times a meter per second squared is going to be a newton. Sir Isaac Newton got tired of writing kilogram meter per second squared every single time, so he decided that he was going to call it a newton. So it's 90 newtons. And if we can go back and plug that 90 in up there, we're going to get a way to check our answer. 90 divided by 30 will give us 3. So that's our answer for that problem. Okay? And then we'll do a lot more practice on that. Don't worry. All right, so right here, we've got some graphs to look at. This is a linear graph. You're going to learn a lot more about linear and nonlinear in 8th grade math coming up. This one is nonlinear, and that means it makes a straight line. So this one makes a straight line. This one does not make a straight line. So when we graph acceleration versus force, when mass is constant, it's linear. Okay, and that just basically means when one goes up, the other goes up at the same rate. Now, in contrast, when force is constant, acceleration and mass, they don't increase at the same rate. Okay? And here's what we're going to write for that. A higher acceleration equals less mass. Down here, higher mass equals less acceleration. Okay, if force stays the same, if you have a larger mass, you're going to have less acceleration. It's going to be less acceleration that you can apply to it. If you have the same amount of force, then you have a little mass, then you can accelerate it a lot higher. It can go a lot faster at a greater rate. And then this last piece over here, the greater the mass or acceleration, the greater the force. And that goes back to our formula, force equals mass times acceleration. If you have a greater mass, you're going to have a greater force. If you have a greater acceleration, you're going to have a greater force. Because both of these numbers, the bigger they are, then the bigger force is going to be. They're contributing to a greater force. Think about a football player. If you have a football player that's really, really massive, over 200 pounds, and he can accelerate, he can speed up and run really fast down the football field, if you take his really big mass and you multiply it by a really big acceleration, then he can exert a big force down the football field. He's going to be really hard to tackle. He's going to be one of those guys that can't be tackled, that's just dragging other players behind him that they can't tackle when he's got the football. Kind of reminds me of like C.J. Wright when he was playing for the Gamecocks. All right, and then our last little piece right here, and we'll be done with this page. Did you know? Mass is a measure of, here's our word from yesterday, inertia. Mass is a measure of inertia, the resistance of an object to acceleration. So, the greater the mass, the greater the force required to increase its acceleration. Therefore, acceleration is inversely proportional to mass when force is constant. And inversely proportional means if one thing goes up, then another thing goes down. So that just means if I had 2 kilograms, then that's going to require less force to accelerate versus if I had 20 kilograms, that's going to require more force to accelerate. Okay? So now we're ready to flip this page over and let's see what they have on the back. So we've got weight and mass, and a lot of times we use those words interchangeably, and we shouldn't. So I'd like for you to pause the video and read through this and then check back with me. We're going to add these formulas here, and we want to note that mass and weight are actually 2 different things. They are related, but they are different properties of matter. Okay? Weight is a measure of the pull or force of gravity on an object. While mass does not change with location, weight does change with location. So if you were to go to the moon, for example, your mass would stay the same. Your amount of matter has not changed, but your weight does change because there's less gravity on the moon. Therefore, there's less weight because there's less force pulling down on you. So you would weigh less. And that's what's going on here in this picture. That's what they're showing. What you would weigh on Earth versus what you would weigh on the moon, while your mass does not change. In contrast, if you were to go to a larger planet like Jupiter with 2.5 times the amount of gravity, your mass again would not change. Mass does not change with location, but you would weigh 2.5 times greater than you would here on Earth. Okay? So now it's time to move